Hi Sagittarius, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your February 2026 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a 12 card spread with each of those cards representing a different house of the zodiac. Starting with your sign, Sagittarius is the first house, all the way through to Scorpio representing the 12th house. And once we get through all that, we'll actually pull an oracle card to help put a bow in the reading. As far as the decks being used, for the main tarot deck, we have the Hermetic tarot, and for the oracle deck, we'll be using the Wisdom of the Oracle. But we're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus should be as far as that goes. Alright, so we have four. So fourth house energy for you guys is Pisces, and yeah, I mean, there's going to be quite a bit of energy moving through there. Of course, the sun will be there on the 18th of February, but beside that, well, Neptune actually recently just moved out of there, but Saturn is still there into the 13th. Mercury will be getting in there on the 6th of February, and then it'll actually start a retrograde on the 26th of February. Venus is also going to go into Pisces on the 10th of February, so there's plenty going on there. Technically, even on the 3rd of March, Mars will also go into Pisces, so of course it's not going to be a February thing, but it's going to be plenty of energy moving through your fourth house for sure. And fourth house in general points to home, roots, and family. All right, we have Mars. So Mars is going to be in Aquarius for all of February, which is your third house of communication, short journeys, and siblings. So that could definitely impact your communications. It looks like there's a bit of a harsh energy there with the tarot as well, so we'll keep that in mind when we get to that. And lastly, we have Taurus. So for you guys, Taurus is actually your sixth house, and in general, sixth house points to health, work, and daily routines. So there could definitely be an impact and focus on that area of life as well. So we'll keep all that in mind as we go through the main spread, but we'll start with the first house. So first house in general points to personality, self-awareness, and even appearance to a certain level. And there we have the 10 of Cups. This deck that's referred to as the Lord of Perfected Success. So definitely sounds like a strong energy there, right? And funny enough, we were talking about with Mars how it's going to be moving into Pisces early in March. So if we look at the symbolism here, we do see the Mars symbol and the Pisces symbol. So for some of you, maybe this is saying if you don't feel this way just yet, maybe when Mars does shift into that area, you might actually feel the energy kick up at that point. But either way, seeing the 10 of Cups in your first house is a great indicator that this will be a good month for you, even if it takes until a little bit later into the month. All right. In the second house, which in general points to possession, self-worth, and finances, we have Fortitude. So this is the equivalent of the Strength card in most decks. It's a Leo energy. And we have Daughter of the Flaming Sword is the term for this card. So yeah, so seeing this here, I feel like this is saying that you might actually have a strong month when it comes to finances, right? So for some of you, that would actually be strong month as in a lot of money will be coming in. But if we think about the imagery in this card, but also in traditional tarot for the Strength card too, it also points to an energy of restraint, right? We see the woman, looks like they're holding the lion's mouth closed. So if we think of the lion representing ego, right? If you think, oh, I want to do this and that financially out of ego, this could just be saying your higher self could actually hold you back from that too. So I feel like this is saying it's going to be a strong month for you, even if not saying, oh, you're just going to have money pouring in. I feel like this is saying you're also going to make smart moves when it comes to finances this month as well. So as we mentioned, we did see the Mars energy here, and in your third house, which represents communication, short journeys, and siblings, we do have the 10 of Swords. So Mars is there, Pluto is in Aquarius as well, and some of those energies we were talking about that are going to be moving into Pisces are in Aquarius currently, and there's going to be an actual new moon eclipse in Aquarius too on the 17th of February. So a lot going on in your communication house as well. And in this deck, it's referred to as the Lord of Ruin. So, I mean, given that you have some pretty solid cards outside of this, I feel like this is definitely saying be careful around your communication this month. And for some of you, this could just be an indicator too, right? That less is more when it comes to communication this month, right? Because we see 10 swords there. And if we think of each of those swords representing communication, it would just be saying that it's not so much that communication as a whole is going to be difficult for you this month, but it could just be one of those things where maybe a less is more approach would be better, right? Maybe not over explaining yourselves with certain things, right? Or not trying to take on too many conversations. So that could be the main indicators going on there. Again, like we said, fourth house also came up as significant, and we talked about all the energies you'll be having moving through there between February and even into March. And here we have the Five of Pentacles. And in this deck, it's referred to as the Lord of Material Trouble. So yeah, so this could just be saying with your home environment, maybe even with family, right? There could just be some unexpected expenses that you might have to deal with this month. So maybe that's going to be part of what derails you a bit, right? Where you're like, okay, things have gone smoothly, then bam, all of a sudden I have to tend to these expenses that might have come up out of nowhere. So again, there's still some indicators that says you could ride that wave, but definitely be on the lookout for that, right? Where maybe things you didn't plan on being expenses going into the month, as we progress through it, you might find that you have some. In the fifth house, which in general points to romance, creativity, and children, we have the Four of Swords. This deck referred to as the Lord of Rest from Strife. So yeah, so if you guys have been having some difficulty there, right? Maybe if you've been struggling with your creativity, or maybe if your romantic lives have been a little bit tricky to navigate lately, seeing this here is a good indicator that you will be able to actually restore some peace there to an extent. You know, this is the card that comes after the Three of Swords, right? Which could be indicating that, yeah, you might have come out of a difficult cycle with that fifth house energy, but now things could start to improve. All right, so as we mentioned, sixth house energy for you guys is Taurus, which came up with the dice. And astrologically speaking, I mean, well, we have Uranus in Taurus, and all of those energies we were talking about that are going to be moving from Aquarius to Pisces will be making difficult aspects with Uranus and Taurus. So that could be what's making the sixth house energy significant for you guys. But as far as the card you guys have, we have the Hanged Man, referred to as the spirit of the mighty waters. So I feel like this ties in somewhat to what I was saying with the third house energy, right? Of maybe the less is more approach might be a good way to go about things this month. But I feel like this is saying, you know, the best move might be to make no big move at all this month, right? So it could just be one of those things where you might have to let the dust settle a little bit if things do seem to go a bit awry when it comes to your work lives or your daily routines. And I feel like intuitively you might pick up on that too, because the Hangman's also quite the intuitive energy. So it could just be one of those things where you say, okay, you know what? Let me just pace myself, right? Maybe things are getting a little overwhelming, but let me really think these things through, right? And look at things from a different angle before I make a definitive move. Which would make sense too, because if we tie this in with Piscean energy, and the fact that the Mercury retrograde is going to be in Pisces, that would be a good approach to take. All right. In your seventh house, which in general points to partnerships, contracts, relationships, we have the King of Wands. So this is Leo energy here, which for you is your natural ninth house. And we have the Prince of the Chariots of Fire. So yeah, so you might actually feel like things will be going well when it comes to your partnership. So maybe that's going to be one of those things too, right? Where even if you are going through some difficult times, there's going to be someone that you could actually lean on. So whether that be a business partner, right? Maybe a romantic partner, or just someone, you know, who you feel like you see eye to eye with, maybe at a friendship level. I feel like this is saying that things could progress in a positive manner with them this month. And also maybe just through discussions with them too, right? So like we said, the less is more, right? Maybe instead of just bouncing ideas off of a lot of people this month, maybe go to your most trusted person. All right. So for the eighth house, which in general points to death, rebirth, intimacy, and investments, we have the Sun. So for you guys, your eighth house is Cancer, and Cancer has Jupiter in it right now. It's still retrograde, but that is your ruling planet. So this could just be saying that, especially given that Jupiter actually is going to start direct motion again, finally on the 12th of March. So it's not going to be this month, but coming up soon. I'll just be saying that you might feel like things are starting to turn around there as well. As Jupiter gets ready to change directions, maybe you feel the momentum building when it comes to those areas of life. So yeah, if you might have felt like your um, intimacy was lacking in your lives a little bit, you might start to see an uptick with that, right? If you feel like investments maybe were dragging along a little bit longer than you would have liked, it looks like you could start to see some turnarounds with that as well. But at the very least, it looks like this is going to be spotlighted for you guys in some way too. All right. And speaking of Jupiter in the ninth house, we have the Wheel of Fortune. So this is Jupiter energy, referred to as the Lord of the forces of life. And while it's not in your ninth house yet, it will move into your ninth house around July something or other. I can't remember the exact date, but could just be saying again, like I was saying with the when we were talking about the eighth house, that as Jupiter does prepare to start a direct cycle again, you might start to feel like momentum's picking up, right? Maybe if you were going through a bit of a cycle where you felt like you might have had some hard luck, you could start to feel like things are starting to turn around with that as well. All right. So for the 10th house, which points to career and social status primarily, we have the Nine of Cups. So more Pisces energy here. And it says Lord of Material Happiness. So yeah, this could be another indicator that career-wise, you might find that things are going quite well for you, right? And like we said with your work lives too, you might this could be another indicator. This card working in conjunction with this one could definitely be an indicator. If things seem a little bit bumpy for a little bit, try not to make any rash decisions, right? Just let things play out a little bit, or at the very least give some thought before making any significant moves, because it looks like this is saying that things can actually go quite well for you. All right. So for the 11th house, pointing to friendships, groups, and hopes and wishes, we have the Princess of Swords. So this is the equivalent to the Page of Swords, and we have Princess of the Rushing Winds. So yeah, so for some of you, this Ten of Swords energy could just be saying that maybe others around you in your friendship groups, for example, maybe they're going to be speaking a little bit rashly, right? And maybe not even realizing, because the Princess of Swords or the Page of Swords, usually they're well-meaning energies, but they just might not be at the higher level of experience with what they're doing. So it could just be one of those things where someone might just say something, not realizing how it's coming across. Again, right? Perfect theme for Mercury retrograde month, but that could be what could happen for some of you too. So I feel like this is saying, at least if you can, try to see, hey, is there possibly another way this person could have actually meant what they said, but just didn't come out right? Keeping in mind that, more than likely wasn't their intention to cause harm there. All right. And for your 12th house, which points to spirituality, blind spots, and mental health, we have the Seven of Pentacles. So this deck is referred to as the Lord of Success Unfulfilled. So yeah, so seeing this here, I feel like this is saying that in your mind, you're going to feel like you're further behind than you really are, right? Because like we said, in some of these more external facing energies, it looks like things are going to be going quite well for you. Or, to be fair, like we said, right, given that the Four of Swords is in your 5th house, usually an indicator that there was a Three of Swords there one time, right? So it could just be saying that, yeah, you might feel like, oh, things didn't go the way that I hoped. I feel like this is an indicator that, yeah, maybe as you're putting that behind you, right, you're going to start to see things turn around in a more positive manner. And again, going back to what we were saying, right, with Jupiter getting ready to change direction in March, again, at the very least, if you don't feel it early in February, I feel like as we get a little bit later into the month, you will start to feel the momentum building. And bottom of the deck, we have Death. So the major arcana card for Scorpio. So if we think about Scorpio representing your 12th house too, right? This could just be saying this is the death, or as it says, the child of the great transformers. This could just be one of those things where now maybe you will finally reach that point of getting out of your heads, right? If you've been stuck in your heads for a while, finally putting that behind you, combining this with that Ten of Swords, and then that's going to be what actually helps things clear up for you. So, hope it resonated, but let's grab an oracle card to wrap the reading up. So like I mentioned, we'll pull a card from the Wisdom Oracle deck. Just going to give this a few more shuffles, then we'll cut the deck and pull a card. Okay. We'll take this card here. We get this out of the way, and we'll see what you got. All right, we have By the Book. There's the artwork, and the number is 11. See what it has to say. All right, essential meanings says abiding by social rules, conformity, respecting cultural or family customs, universal laws. The Oracle's message: the universe works within the structure of divine laws and principles that provides a framework for human experience and evolution. The law of abundance, the law of prayer, the law of karma, the law of attraction, the law of thought, the law of compensation, and the law of nature are only a few that are known. These principles create perfect order and operate with a kind of precision beyond human understanding. Even revolution has its place in universal law. Human beings, in turn, have their own laws and customs that vary from culture to culture and family to family. Laws keep social order and govern behavior, reflecting an instinctive understanding that harmony is important. This is a time to learn these laws and conform to them, rather than being the rebel and flouting them. When this card appears, submit to structure and follow the rules even if they seem to make no sense. Release resistance, for universal laws will correct any disharmony. Open your eyes to those universal laws, and it will be easier to go by the book at this time. So reading that definitely makes me think of that hangman energy we see in the 6th house, but hopefully that message resonated with you. The relationship message says getting along with others entails understanding and respecting who they have become as a result of their environment, culture, and experience. Find a middle ground that allows the relationship to flourish while honoring the individuality of the other person. Play things by the book instead of trying to break the rules or pressure others to conform to the way you want to do them. Your connection will deepen as a result. So interesting message there as far as that came across as a romantic message, but that did remind me of what I was seeing with the 11th house, right? Where, like I said, maybe someone might communicate something that might come across as more harsh than they intended it. And then I was saying, maybe think of, hey, is there another way they might have meant that, given that we'll have that Mercury retrograde energy coming around in a month. The prosperity message says at this time you can expect a return on your investment. Whatever you have pursued, be it a dream you've long cherished, a skill you've cultivated, or a service you're called to, will come to you if you are willing to go by the book. You don't need to reinvent the wheel to be successful. Follow in the footsteps of others who have already achieved the things you're striving for. You can learn a lot by observing the structures that are already working. Your creative projects and commitment to prosperity are in alignment with the needs of the world, but impatience may tempt you to cut corners to get there more quickly. Stick with what you know works, and you will attract abundance. So yeah, another positive message here as well. So like I said, it looks like that 3rd house energy for sure seems a little bit tricky. 12th house less so, but given the death card there, and like we said, the 4 of swords in your 5th house, could just be saying that you're moving out of a bit of a rougher cycle and moving toward better things. But hopefully that resonates with you guys, and we'll wrap up there. All right, bye.